In the quaint village of Spooner's Bluff, a bewildering and hysterical event, now known as the Great Pudding Panic, transpired, throwing the small community into a delightfully sticky upheaval. It all started at the annual Spooner's Bluff Bake-Off, where the grand prize was a giant silver spoon rumored to have magical dessert-enhancing capabilities. Eleanor Twee, the reigning champion for 3 consecutive years, had stumbled upon an old family recipe for mystic mocha pudding. Little did she know, this pudding had a mischievous mind of its own. As the judges approached Eleanor's station, she elegantly ladled the last dollops of her mocha pudding into crystal bowls, garnishing each with a sprig of mint. The judges, Mr. Wattlesworth, Mrs. Penelope, and young Timmy Thistle, each took a spoonful, and that's when chaos lovingly spooned its way into the festivities. No sooner had the pudding touched their tongues than the judges began to exhibit odd behaviors. Mr. Wattlesworth, a usually stoic man in his 60s, giggled hysterically, then commenced a series of cartwheels that would have been impressive under normal circumstances, but were astonishing given his arthritis. Mrs. Penelope, the stern librarian, sang loudly in opera, her voice soaring over the marquee as she danced the polka with anyone in arm's reach. And Timmy, sweet Timmy, declared himself the mayor of Spooner's Bluff and began a passionate speech about his first act, mandatory daily dessert. The spectacle drew a crowd. Laughter and bizarre antics poured through the event like wildfire. Gus McFadden's lemon meringue pie did little to soothe the communal hysteria when it ended up decorating the mayor's, real mayor, not Timmy's, new suit in a particularly explosive pie-eating contest. Meanwhile, Eleanor tried to maintain composure, deeply perplexed by the mysterious effects of her family pudding. Her attempt to restore order, however, was repeatedly interrupted by her parrot, Rupert, who had learned quite the vocabulary of nonsense from Timmy's speech. By mid-afternoon, the Bluff Times reporters spilled into the festival, their cameras snapping away at the absurd scenes, from Mr. Wattlesworth doing the worm back towards his judge's seat to the town's oldest residents leading a conga line around the pudding station. Once everyone had indulged in the pudding, the symptoms seemed to amplify. It was hysteria multiplied by 100. Mrs. Armstrong, the doctor's wife, somehow managed to knit 30 scarves in under an hour, tossing them out to the cold and needy. Edgar Buttons, the grocer, had everyone in stitches with his impression of a teapot, spout and all. It wasn't until the sun began to set, casting a calm orange glow over the village, that the effects of the mystic mocha pudding finally began to wear off. As if awakening from a trance, villagers blinked at each other, laughter still bubbling from their lips. Even Mayor Johnson, with lemon meringue still dripping from his eyebrows, couldn't help but chuckle. The next day, the Bluff Gazette headlined with "Pudding Panic at Bake Off." Eleanor, though initially embarrassed, was presented with the silver spoon amidst cheers and playful banter. The mystic mocha pudding was banned from future competitions, but its legend lived on, ensuring that the bake-off was forever engraved in village lore as the most hysterical event in Spooner's Bluff history. From that year forth, Spooner's Bluff Bake-Off was not only a competition, but an eagerly awaited spectacle, promising good fun and a dash of pandemonium. And so, in the little village where everyone now eagerly partakes in the annual celebration, they sometimes whisper just before the tasting starts, "Remember the panic," words carrying a twinkle of mischief and a spoonful of laughter.